Lower your bar and use it as the first rung on your ladder. Build a ladder is a concept from YouTuber Martina from King Kobe, who deals with both chronic pain and chronic depression. I also deal with those things, which is why I'm including this in here. If you too deal with these things, then you would know that on some days you're lucky if you can get out of bed because the pain is so intolerable, or muster the energy and strength to clean yourself after a week-long depression. Forget about killing it and getting shit done. When we are in these states, it is like being in a state of survival where all dreams have died. If you are in this place, you are not alone. In order to build your ladder, think of just one thing that you can do to help yourself function today, whether that is taking a shower or calling someone for help, and then do that one thing. After you're done, reward yourself. If you feel like you have the energy and will to do another thing, then do that thing, and so on until you have reached your limit. But since you originally only set out to do one thing today, you've done all you plan to do, hooray! And that, my friends, is how you build your ladder. Many of us with mental health struggles find ourselves mired in the bog of self-hatred, and this is a heavy weight indeed that keeps us from taking care of ourselves. But here's something that helped me from Casey Davis's book, How to Keep House While Drowning, 31 Days of Compassionate Help. You do not have to care about yourself to care for yourself. So many of us have the cart before the horse here. You think that you must like yourself to start being kind to yourself. It actually works the opposite way. Caring for yourself is the greatest tool for learning to care about yourself. When we take moral judgments out of caring for ourselves, meaning if you view caring for yourself as right and good, you'll think, I am such a bad person because I can't even shower, and I am so gross, nasty, dirty, disgusting, etc. They become easier to handle because they don't carry the same emotional baggage. The irony is that care tasks, this is Casey Davis again, the irony is that care tasks can only be caring when they are morally neutral. If changing your sheets means nothing morally, then the decision to change them from a motivation of kindness to yourself takes you from neutral to, wow, that feels good. You didn't have to do it, but you did. If you were about to sit on a park bench and you noticed that there was a leaf or a wrapper on it, you would move the leaf or the wrapper before you sat down and think nothing of it. Or maybe you would even sit on the wrapper, who knows? Because it isn't a moral failing of the bench that the bench has something on it. It's morally neutral. Am I telling you to think of yourself as an inanimate object when you need to shower? If it helps, go for it until you can feel alive again. We are sold a lie from when we are very young that success means working yourself into fatigue, depression, burnout, illness in order to make money, to have the mansion, the 3 luxury cars, the elite private school education, to buy all the things that our capitalist society says that we need in order to have value as a person. That if you're not working, you have no worth because you can't contribute to society by buying a bunch of shit you don't actually need. Take a minute to inhale deeply. Do you smell that? Because I smell some bullshit. It's time to redefine what success means specifically to you. Maybe success is just getting through the day. Maybe success is not yelling at your kids when your nervous system is too dysregulated to think straight. As artist Chris Ann has said, clearly defining your goal as a feeling or as an experience will help you to understand what you are working so hard for. So what exactly does success look like to you? How does it feel? Kind of warm and gooey and calm and excited all at once. And very, very grateful. Excuses or a reason. Okay, so this is day 2 of the setup. I just took a break. Rachel Hoffman put it so very well in her book, Unfuck Your Habitat, highly recommended, when she explained excuses are things that people use to justify not doing something because they don't want to do it. Reasons are how people explain not doing something because they aren't able to do it. Do you see the difference? Saying you don't want to wash the dishes because they're just going to get dirty again later is an excuse. Saying that you can't stand up for more than a few consecutive minutes to wash dishes because you're having a pain flare-up is a reason. In this section, we are addressing your excuses only. It's not my job to call anyone out here. You know yourself best. It's up to you to dig a little deeper and determine whether your reason is actually an excuse, and if your excuse is a legitimate reason. Be as gentle and honest with yourself as you can. What excuses are you holding on to? There's definitely a kind of feeling where, oh, I just don't know enough yet. I don't know enough to do that yet. There's also, I guess, the expectation that my art has to be perfect in order for people to want to even, look at or engage with it. My art isn't good enough, I guess. Maybe I need more practice first. And the thing that, we never take into consideration is that by just jumping in and doing the thing, that counts as practice and you will get better along the way. But it's like I need my stuff to be perfect from the get-go. Very, what's it called? Like high expectations. They're way too high. Do you notice any similarities between the things you are making excuses about, my art/work? Upon closer examination of these things, you feel resistance around, hence the excuses. Do they or do they not align with your values as they are now? They don't. They do not. With creativity as one of my core values, I need to be working on that. And that's not to say that I haven't been creative, this past year in 2022, because, like design is still a creative thing and writing is creative, even if it's nonfiction. So it's not like, I haven't been doing anything creative. Same thing goes with, like my memory keeping journal. There's some and planning stuff like creative planning. Is it possible that you've simply outgrown them or are rebelling against them because they're not in alignment with you? No, because I'm just scared, and that's okay. And I was scared last year at this time, and I'm still scared, but I think I've done a whole lot more to, put myself out there over the past year. So there's that. If you are still expected to do these things, i.e. for a job, etc., how much of the situation do you actually have control over? Can you propose a trade-off? I can't do this, but I can do that instead. If I'm not available at this time, I could be more than happy to call you at this day and time. That's mostly for other people. I work for myself, as I've mentioned. So the thing that I'm expected to do is to be creative, as a, an artist. And I'm just gonna write I work for myself. And this is specifically for things that are not actually excuses, they are reasons. So if you are supposed to be, writing your company's newsletter every week, but you also have like a ton of other things that you have to do for your actual job, and then people are just like expecting you to do other things, can you say to your boss, like, look, I have these many things that I'm working on, and then, these other things just popped up. Can we, get someone else to write the newsletter this week or this quarter or something like that? Like, what is negotiable in your line of work? What things that other people have told you are excuses are actually legitimate reasons or barriers? So this can come across as people just being ignorant, like they don't know your situation to the extent that obviously you know your situation because this is a life that you live. A common one that I've come across around anxiety, let's say, for example, I don't want to go out and open up a bank account because there's a lot of steps and I have to be away from home, and I do have some anxiety about going out and leaving my house. Leave the dog alone, please. And, people will say, oh, it's not that bad. And the problem with that is you have no idea. You have no idea what another person's life is like. So you can't tell them, oh, it's not that bad, unless you are that person living their life. So write down some of these things. I don't really have a lot of people telling me these things anymore. I don't actually see a lot of people anymore. The pandemic really helped with that. So this little chick thing is so cute. So I'm gonna skip this for myself because nothing is jumping out for me right now. This is not something that's hitting me right now. Can these barriers be moved with some support from someone you trust? Who? So as another example, let's say you have chronic pain issues and you have a lot of stuff around the house. Like, it's just a complete mess. The clutter is making you depressed. And maybe you're hearing from your family, like, this place is a mess. Why don't you just clean it up and just get rid of it? Maybe it's harder than that. Maybe you can't push your body so hard for a long time. Can you clean in bursts? Like, set, a timer for like 10 minutes, clean for 10 minutes. and that's it. Just work on like one focused area and you'll start seeing, progress over time. Can you get someone to actually accompany you with the cleaning? Can you get them to support you in making decisions about decluttering? I'm just throwing ideas out there. Cycles. Everything in nature has a cycle. The moon waxes, growing in brightness, and then wanes, settling into the darkness before heading into the light again. Earth goes through its own changes through the seasons as we drift closer and farther from the sun. Renewal in the spring, the abundance of growth in the summer, harvest in autumn, and then the fallow time in winter when everything may seem dead but is only dormant, waiting for rebirth in spring. We forget that we as human beings are part of nature, as much as we try to remove ourselves from it. We too are subject to our own seasons, cycles, and rhythms. Our very life cycle can be divided into seasons on macro and micro levels. As babies, we are born in the spring and continue through childhood. The summertime of our adolescence and young adulthood is filled with an abundance of vitality and life energy. This vitality starts to fade in our autumnal middle age, and then in the winters of our lives, when our hair is white as snow, we are returned to the earth and our cycle has ended. While we always want to be conscious of our overarching life cycle, it's important to pay attention to our own personal microcycles. Paying attention to how we as individuals experience our own waxing and waning helps us to plan tasks more effectively. Do you menstruate? Do you have mental or physical health issues that wax and wane? Do you get seasonal affective disorder? It's important that we realize when we are in our waning phase and to give ourselves grace and rest if that is what we need. It's a good idea when we're in our waning phase to look back and acknowledge all that we've been able to accomplish, no matter how small. The fallow time is a great time to review. What season of life are you currently in? Same as last year, I guess. So the macro, I am in my autumnal years. I just turned 41 today, actually. And then we've got micro. So I have mental health issues. So I'm definitely closing in on some depression. So physical, I'm also having a lot of pain flare-ups. So I'm going to say winter for my physical, and I'm not sure what this is going to be yet. Maybe work or creativity. Let's do creativity. I think that sounds fun. Though I guess creativity would be... No, it's fine. It's fine. All right, so mental health... I'm approaching winter, I would say, like in between winter and autumn. All right, so what are the stages? Oh, wait, what cycles do you need to be aware of for yourself as you move forward? Oh, sorry. So this is actually supposed to be here. The microcycles are here. So let's do menstrual, mental health, physical / pain. So, okay, yeah. Maybe I will add that. So this is the macro, and then this is the micro, because I don't want to confuse anybody. All right, so what do each of the stages in your personal cycles look like? So we're not talking about what month this is, like what season the earth is in. We are talking about if you have mental health issues, what do your good days look like? What do your bad days look like? On a really bad day, that would probably be in winter, because winter is when we're supposed to be resting. Do you have any triggers that... So I guess personally speaking, I know that if I'm extremely anxious, that's going to lead to a crash and a depression. So, I'm going to write anxious, and then I know this is going to be a crash, which is depression. And when I am depressed, my energy is low, apathy, and no motivation. So these are all things that are telling me that I need to rest. So let's go mental. So spring, I guess, is when I'm just emerging from depression. And then this is mental. I'm able to, find joy in doing things again. And I have a lot of focus on things. I'm being evaluated for ADHD, so like I always feel weird about using the terms that are diagnostic, like hyperfocus, but if they tell me I don't have ADHD, then what the hell is wrong with me? Let's just say able to take part in activities and may also hyperfocus. So my physical summer would be low pain, active, right? So then What are my warning signs for physical pain? My back will start hurting. That's my SI joint. And until it leads to like just total inflammation of my entire body. And I become like very slow moving because it hurts to move. And that's, you know, your body's way of being like, stop it right now. And then spring. So physical, I guess, would be when I start getting some relief. So I just wanted to point out that there are, what was it, in the Magic of I pocket planner, there was like a menstrual chart. This is not like that. I guess when I thought about this, the menstruation seasonal thing was more like trying to think about what days are the days that you are incapacitated, if you are incapacitated from your cycle. So I know that like I'm not super great with my phases during the actual cycle, but I do know that I get cramps during the first few days of my menstrual cycle, and then about a week after when I'm ovulating, that's excruciating some days, and I'm just like, what the fuck? So I'm going to write just ovulating, because winter again is a reminder to rest. So when during your cycle should you be resting? So I'm just gonna write ovulating and first few days. I'm running out of room. Of period. There we go. Because like I know in other menstrual cycle charts you might put spring as like, oh, I'm ovulating, I am fertile, right? If that's what you want to chart, if that's how you want to chart it, please go ahead. This is there for you. Use it however you want. I am not looking to conceive anytime ever again, so I'm just charting my pain, basically. Okay, the kind of change we're trying to make in ourselves during this process can be challenging, and that's okay. How can you take care of yourself, not only when the shit hits the fan, but on a regular basis so that that doesn't happen, or the occurrence is far less frequent? I need to really listen to my body this year, because when I'm in pain and when I don't get a lot of sleep, I know those are two triggers that, or when I'm depressed or anxious, Jesus, I know those are all triggers for overspending. So I need to really tune in and listen to what my body is saying and act accordingly. Okay, if you are the type of person who gives to others first, which that's me, self-care could feel selfish and maybe triggering. Just remember that if you are constantly depleted, you will not be able to help anyone. Your batteries will run out and you will cease functioning. Stopping to recharge is a must if you want to keep supporting the people and animals you love. You have to show up to live your own life because no one else is going to live it for you. Take attendance if you have to. Ask yourself, am I here today? If the answer is no, then where the hell are you?